and then Kimberly, yes.
Yeah.
That's like the top two. Like that's it.
You talk about how Dark Spectre was in the movie and they reused it.
No, I'm not sure if you guys
Facts.
like understand. Like, Dark Spectre got washed, and then Space started, and now all of a sudden he's like the strongest being ever. I just,
It technically wasn't him. It was a different character. I forgot what was he called in the Turbo movie?
Uh
He had a different name.
oh, Malagor?
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Malagor. That's it. Yeah.
Dude,
And
and
they just
that was like
became the villain.
yeah, that was like one of those things when we were kids watching that shit. We're like, "Wait, didn't I just Okay, never mind."
Like he was actually still a scrub in space. like he just had that title, but then he went out like a lame.
So, okay,
Called him a body, though.
here's a question for both of you guys. This is just off the rip because we're talking about Turbo movie, right? Do you guys think the first movie is better than the Turbo movie or the reverse?
Yeah,
I think the first one was better.
Okay.
definitely.
Way more memorable moments, a better story.
Yeah.
I'm a frog.
Wait.
Like,
Yes.
But Turbo has probably the funniest moment in the history of Power Rangers.
And let's not forget
Then
too,
my boy Rocky Boogie.
the first Power Rangers movie had trouble. Like
Mm.
that right
Mm.
Best song in Power Rangers history.
Yeah.
there,
The only reason why I ask is because like Crimson in the chat, he mentions like, well, in Turbo they brought Jason back too, even as an evil like entity thing, and like it's moments like that in Turbo that make me like ask the question because I'm like, that shit looking back was actually fucking fire. Like it was.
Seeing Kim and Jason back was something. Like remember me being in a movie theater, and I saw Kimberly and Jason. I'm like, oh, well, we haven't seen at that point. That's the first time we see Kimberly since she left.
Yeah, man. Hey,
And
yo,
we haven't seen her since, unless you count the last movie.
I don't think you could count that because they're not like you
She
can.
wasn't Kimberly.
You can only count that if you're gonna if they were gonna like continue that story because they're not anymore. Like the next movie that they're making is not even gonna tie in with that one. They're essentially redoing it already. So
Female Red Ranger too.
yeah.
What out of the three movies, the Turbo original and 2017, which one was the best for you guys?
Oh, it had to be the first one then.
I think 2017.
Actually, yeah.
I think
actually a really good
2017 was
movie.
better.
You thought 2017 was better than the first movie?
Yeah.
Like as an actual movie, it might be, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's pretty. It's actually a really good movie.
So okay. So
But I mean, like all the yeah, my bad, you can go.
So that's fair to ask that though, because that's actually a really great starting point to that discussion. Because if you look at 2017, that had to see the first movie, it had the liberty of already having 3 seasons, and we didn't need to get introduced to these characters and blah blah blah. We already knew who Tommy, Billy, Rocky, Adam, Aisha, and Kimberly were. We already knew the gang. We already knew Alpha and Zordon and Rita and Zed. The only thing we had to get introduced to was the new plot and the villain, which was Ooze, and like Dulcia. Those were all movie exclusive characters that we had to get introduced to for obvious reasons because that was what set the movie up. But with 2017, they had to not just establish the groundwork, but they had to fucking build all that shit up in enough time to fit in one, movie essentially, and then still have enough time left to kind of wrap it all up and, see how it goes towards the end. I thoroughly enjoyed 2017 a lot. A lot of people gave it gripe. A lot of people said that there was not enough fighting, there wasn't enough suit time, but when it comes to those things, I thought it was the fighting was appropriate when it happened because the original plan was that they were gonna continue making more, so that way, the second one, the third one, the fourth one that came afterwards, we wouldn't have to worry about there being a lack of action and stuff like that. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. However, going back to how like the whole movie was as a as a whole, because it is Power Rangers at the end of the day, and like they had a really hard and steep hill to climb up, but at the end of the day, how they executed it, I feel like the execution was pretty good, but.
My bad.
Well, you're good. But one of the things that I gotta say that is a bit of an eyesore even now is the suits and the Zords and even if you look at the Mighty Morphin movie and you look at those suits were updated and upgraded, and they even had more fucking powers. Like, since when could Rocky scan the whole John? Remember that part in the beginning where they were like in the parking garage or some shit?
Yeah, they even got a figure with that figure there. The visor.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, I thought
And
that shit was
had the
fire.
lights. It was
Oh,
dope.
yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Like, I just feel like there was way more to the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger movie than there was, because if you think, because like that's what I'm saying, like they had it easier because they had like, there was like this happened and then the next thing happened where like the movie starts off they're freaking skydiving for no reason because they're teenagers and they can, and that shit was fire. Why was Tommy on a snowboard? Who cares? It's Tommy. It was godlike. You know what I'm saying? And they come through high energy, and then the next thing you know, the gif that is constantly used for It's Morphin Time. As soon as they got into that part and they used the movie theme song, dude, there's too many things about the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie that makes it way better than, and especially like when they had to go, they like lost their powers, then they had to do the ninjetti, and then they're like fighting these fucking like skeleton dinosaur creature things, like that shit was crazy. And they get the new shit, and then of course we have the famous line from Adam was like, "I'm a frog," and like like, and the soundtrack was dope. Like there's when you list all the things that the first movie offers in comparison to 2017, it's not even fair, to be honest. Like 2017 does its own justice, but it does its own justice aside from the original. Like it doesn't even touch the original. Like, dude, think about it. The 2017 movie literally used the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger movie song for that shit. They didn't even make a new one. They recycled that, John.
So as the overall Power Rangers movie, right? You're saying that obviously the first one. I agree. The first one is the best. But I'm talking about a movie as a whole. Like you're talking, with character development, all except for Zach, right, was done better than character development for Justin, for example, in Turbo. We always know he was a kid and that's it. In the 2017 movie, we got to know these characters. We got to know, okay, I can relate to this character, I can relate to that character. Everybody had their own different personalities. So it didn't really necessarily feel more. They didn't really feel like a team until they got captured.
Yeah.
Right. That was when they really started feeling like a team. But overall, it was more of a. The first movie was definitely a lot more fun because again we know all these characters, but as somebody who knows nothing about Power Rangers and I'm going straight in watching the first movie, it's like, okay, what's this person? Like I need to know more. So I'm just comparing it off movie versus movie. 2017 did an overall better job. The cliffhanger also on the 2017 movie was done well because the first one didn't even have a cliffhanger.
That's
Didn't have a cliffhanger.
Yeah, there was no cliffhanger.
And the cameos by JDF and Amy Jo. As soon as I saw that, I went nuts.
Everybody did. Free.
There was no moment that I went nuts in the movie theater for the first movie. I didn't even go nuts when I saw Kimberly and Jason in Turbo. Well, for that time there, I did. The worst part, in my opinion, for the 2017 movie was it was so much Krispy Kreme. It was ridiculous. It was just marketing.
Marketing, yeah. Welcome to modern day. That's what it is.
And I'm glad too, because I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but Jason and Kimberly were supposed to be a love interest, and they took that scene out completely.
Oh, I think I did see that. Yeah.
But they kind of still hinted in that direction though, even though they didn't fully commit to it. But that shit was. Wait a minute, didn't they have a kissing scene?
I don't think they did, but it was deleted. It was recorded, but it was a deleted scene.
I could have sworn that it happened.
right? The 2017 Power Rangers movie had Becky G. Okay, so
Yo.
that being said,
That was important. That was important.
Yo, you want to know something funny about that little fact? My godfather to this day does not believe me. Like we had a yelling argument over Thanksgiving dinner, right? It wasn't even a bad one. It was just like, you know how like family rips on each other, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, yo, Ryan, you still fucking watching Power Rangers? You saw that movie? I was like, fuck yeah, I saw that fucking movie. That shit was fire. And then he started playing like a Becky G song, like literally. I'm like, did you know that your girl was a Power Ranger? He's like, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, yes, she was. And I'm like, I will bet you all. I'm like, you're getting me presents for Christmas, like straight up. And he was like, nah. And I showed it to him. I literally Googled it on my phone. He's like, get the fuck out of here. He's like, why?
He said, why?
Yeah.
My mom, mad Puerto Rican. My mom, mad Puerto Rican. She's like, oh, you're gonna see Power Rangers? I'm like, yeah. She's like, can I go? I'm like, oh, I already got the tickets. But why the hell you want to go? And my mom was like, oh, Becky G is in it. Like, well, no. She knew the deal.
Dude, I didn't even know who Becky G was until like I saw that movie.
My thing with the 2017 movie is I honestly think I don't even think this is like a crazy statement. I think that the characterization is the best in any Power Ranger media, honestly.
Except for Zach. Zach was
Yeah,
so poor. Zach was just thrown in there.
If we're not including the comics. Yeah, I mean, they didn't have enough time. That's the thing, too. They didn't have enough time to do it for everybody, but they still did a really good job. And, like, honestly, the Billy in the movie might be one of my favorite Rangers.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
That movie.
And, yo, let's not forget, too, the way Zordon looked, right, when his tube got smashed in the first movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of goosebumps, yo. I'm like, yo, why he look like that?
I mean, come on. He did look a little chapped.
That's kind of unfortunate is because like something that you were saying earlier, which I was gonna say something like the fact that the original movie didn't have to introduce everything and you know like do all that like that what the 2017 movie did. That's why like you see a lot of trilogies in general like in movies. The second movie is usually the best one for that reason.
Yeah.
That you don't have to sit through an origin story. You don't have to talk about every character and all their motives and all that. You just go straight into the action. And that's, I think, if they continued the 2017 movie to a sequel, I think that would have been one of the best things in Power Rangers history.
That's mad true. Yeah, I will definitely like to add that the 2017 movie definitely had it had a lot. Well, I should say it like this. That movie's characters were more than likely more relatable to like just anybody that just happened to go watch the film. Like if they were just watching it because they got dragged along or they were friends with people that were Power Ranger fans and they kind of were when they were a kid, but they haven't watched it since. And if they go and they went to the theater or they saw it on Blu-ray or whatever, and they sat down and they watched it from start to finish, they would most likely come out of that film saying like, huh, okay, like there's very real relatable characters behind the character that we saw on screen. So like I thought that part was definitely a good selling point in I guess bringing on. It was a good start to bring, hopefully, I guess the intention of bringing on new fans.
I think that when I remember going into that even before it came out. Like first of all, like when I first saw that, I went into that expecting to hate it. Like I remember I saw the trailer and I was like, "This looks like ass." And then I went and I loved it because like the one of the things that they did right. I don't know if you guys seen the movie Chronicle. Have you seen that?
Wait, is that the one where the dude is the dude like Akira?
Yep, I was about to say it's like Akira.
I've only seen it one time, but it was fire. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I think they even admitted that at one point. Like a lot of it was based on that movie, and I think that's why it works so well. I think if there was ever a way to make a modern Power Rangers, like basing it off Chronicle, like people even called it that. They called it Chronicle Rangers.
Chronicle
I thought that
Rangers.
was perfect. I think that there wasn't a better way to do it.
The
Yeah.
2017 movie accomplished something that the original Mighty Morphin didn't do, and that's give Zordon a backstory. You made us.
Yeah.
We actually cared about Zordon.
That
You
was good,
know,
like,
that is very true, man. That is very true. That part, and you know what? They grabbed the fucking fans by the balls at the beginning. Do you remember that shit when
Milk and the Bull.
the whole team died? Rita was the fucking Green Ranger. Like,
yeah, that's I love that. I actually love that concept because it
Yep.
makes more sense for her to pass it on to Tommy
Yup.
as a Green Ranger. 'Cause it was her
Yup.
power. I thought that was godlike.
that was godlike. I remember being in the theater and I saw that and I was actually screaming. I was like, oh! I was like, what? Like, dude, it was.
I feel like they did Rita justice, but they
I
didn't do
really
Gold
appreciate that. Yeah, like because they clearly had an appreciation for the base material. Like it wasn't just some crap. Like, it was just like like just nostalgia pandering, like just doing it from like kind of similar to like how Boom Comics has a clear understanding
Yes.
of the base material and they're respecting it. I thought that was the same thing with that movie, and
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I like stuff that those like different takes on things.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that I definitely
Hold on, tell ass.
huh?
No, because I just said he didn't like their take on Goldar, and he was trash.
Goldar was trash. He was a bunch of metal spoons.
Yeah,
melted
yeah.
together to
And
form
I
a-
did not like the putties. I didn't like how they looked.
Yeah.
I actually like the putties.
They look like
I was-
fucking
they were big
golem
bodies.
monsters.
They were
actually
big
like-
bodies.
Legacy Wars made me like the putties more.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, speaking of which, I gotta check that shit actually right now.
Because the putties, the Z putties, right? They get punched in the chest, and that's it. They just disappear. These putties, they're made out of stone. Like you really gotta try to fight these dudes.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, they look a lot more like believable monsters, but they were fucking atrocious.
That's the thing. Like a lot of things were hideous in that movie. Like the I've grown to like the suits a little bit more now,
Yeah.
but it's still kind of ass. The Zoro's trash. Alpha is one of the most hideous things ever. Goldar is hideous.
Yeah, not gonna
Even
lie.
Rita's costume, I'm not a huge fan. Like I think it's probably the best design thing, but I'm not a huge fan of Rita's design.
Yo, you know what I didn't get, Uchi? Maybe you'll be able to answer this,
Mm,
right?
mm.
Especially the original Mighty Morphin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rita was spying on Kimberly and on Trini while they were sleeping. Why
Uh-huh.
didn't they just attack while they were all asleep?
Mind games.
I guess.
What's the crush though, man? It's not.
Or just summon like 5 monsters at once instead of just sending one at a time.
You know, I feel like that was more of a thing of like a slow burn, kind of mentally break them down and then destroy, like just really get them. You know what I'm saying?
I was rewatching it and it's like, you know what? I just thought about this. Like, why
That's-
did she go?
That's like the
'Cause-
only thing I could think of.
Because in the 2017 movie, Rita was messing with Trini while she was sleeping.
Mhm.
Right.
So I'm not sure if that was like a nudge to the original source material where Rita was spying on them for that episode. I believe it was with a doll. I believe Trini had like a doll or something, and then
That
Rita used that
might,
inspiration for
yeah.
Monster.
That definitely might have been it then, for sure. Because I'm not even gonna lie, I totally forgot about that in the original where Rita was doing. Because I obviously remember all the shit with her and Tommy. But and then oddly enough, in the comics, I remember Rita trying to get onto Zach's, like try to get into Zach's head. If I'm getting that right, or was it Trini? I don't even fucking remember, to be honest.
I don't know.
We might get Real Ranger hours popping.
Oh yeah. If you guys are ready, I'll let me get mega fucking battle off my screen real fast.